Hi, I'm Kim Wilson.
And I'm Natasha Marchewka.
And this is Speechless. Speechless. Speechless.
Welcome to our behind-the-scenes take on real life in VO, where we share stories, resources, and our unsolicited opinions. Welcome. Well, I want to cheers you today for a couple of reasons. Cheers to you. I have a little OJ and Prosecco.
Mimosa. I've got a Tom and Jerry Collins. Thank you very much. Tom and Jerry Collins, right?
Okay, first of all, we have sort of matchy glasses. Okay, a little sip.
Okay. Cheers.
It feels like a Sunday, doesn't it?
It does feel like a Sunday.
A little brunch thing. What do you have in your Tom and Jerry Collins?
It's got blueberry and thyme and gin and a little touch of lemon and elderflower. It's very fancy. It's from my friend Professor Baker on Instagram, who is a bartender.
Okay, cool. We are toasting today. Well, I'm celebrating a lot of successes, so yay me. And as
you.
Me. And as I get older, I'm not shy in celebrating because I've been shy 50 years or something and celebrating myself. So
cheers to you.
But we're also toasting Toastmasters.
Or if you're Kim Wilson, you called it Toastmakers for 10 years.
Kim is a prolific toast maker, but she also thought it was called Toastmakers. Anywho, we're cheersing Toastmasters, not because we have participated at all, but we know that they're really good at teaching presentation skills. And we thought we would take our skills of, presentation skills and provide some presentation tips for everybody who needs them, which is a lot, right? Kim and I have been talking about all the places you need presentation skills, and it's for young people, older people, introverts, extroverts, all the things. It's a good practice for life, but it's for networking. It's for public speaking. What else, Kim?
I mean, I just think automatically when someone is like, what do you do for a living? And I'm like, a voiceover. And they're like, oh, what's that? And then I'm like, oh. So there's a perfect opportunity to present myself, right? With authority and professionalism and a big old smile on my face without acting weird when I describe it.
So networking. Kim is actually a very talented voice actor. So you do have grace when interacting with humans. But for sales, for startups, for people needing fundraising, for students, there's so many reasons to have good presentation skills.
I think the very first thing we want to do is find patterns. And what I mean by patterns is the way you speak, the way you move. And the best way to do that, I think, is to videotape yourself. You want to see if there's any like little tics you do. Do you bob your head? Do you say a lot? And the only way you're going to find that out is by videotaping yourself.
Yeah, can be very uncomfortable, which is why I'm not doing too many reels on Instagram yet, but I hope to. Because you might be doing weird stuff with your body or something, right? Or you might pace. Do you look natural? Do you look...
Right.
And it's good to know. It's painful, but it's good to know.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing that you learn from videotaping yourself or recording or whatever they say in 2021.
Oh, right.
The verbal presentation. Are you rushing? Are you too monotonous and deliberate? Are you remembering to breathe? Is your melody monotonous? So you want to tune into your sound, your pace, and think about how to engage your audience, or whether you are at all. Are you not engaging your audience? That's important. So why don't you share some tips about engaging the audience?
Engaging your audience. So I think some of the things I wrote down was making sure you have eye contact with your audience. And if that's uncomfortable, I would suggest, looking at your script and occasionally looking up. Let's say I would say, if you're in front of a group of people and you have to give a speech, looking down at your script and occasionally looking up. Or if you're just networking with somebody, make sure to make eye contact with that person. So it's an intimate, engaged conversation.
Yeah.
I would also say smile if it's not too uncomfortable, or try to remember to occasionally smile where it's appropriate.
That's why you have to remember to breathe, because it's a lot easier to
Yes.
smile if you're okay. No, I can smile. Which is, you know, it's so normal to have social anxiety, I think. Can we just acknowledge that?
I mean, hello. Yeah.
Even if you're
almost
an
everyone I know, right?
Yeah, introverts certainly, but even if you're an extrovert, it's so easy. And I think that's why people overdrink. There's a balance between alcoholism and professionalism, right? So when you're networking, you have a cocktail and hold it if that's your jam, but you have to remember to breathe, not drink too much, and smile off and on naturally. Okay. Also, use hand gestures deliberately. So, you know, you don't want to like, no.
I'm just kidding.
We don't do that.
No.
Unless it's appropriate. You know, you don't want to
you're talking to.
But you want to use them. My husband always sort of teases the governor when we're watching TV, because he's always using his hands for every single word.
Yeah.
And I don't mind it, but it can be irritating to people. So you want to be conscious of the hand gestures.
I'm Italian, so we always use our hands for everything. Yeah. So I use my hands a lot.
Emphatic. It's good.
Yeah. I think it's good. No would be appreciative. Okay.
Well, you share more with your hands, right? Yeah. But just make sure it's not some sort of tick. You want to make sure you're deliberate about it.
Sure. Yeah, I can see what that would be weird. Yeah.
Okay. The pacing of your conversation. You know, don't talk too fast. I have to admit, while I'm losing my hearing a bit, I don't think I am, because at the doctor, they say I have perfect hearing, but I can't hear people because they're talking like this or like this, or
or mumble, and they just talk like this a little bit under their breath, and you're like, what? Speak.
I have a quiet talker at my house, and I'm like, I'm not going deaf. I know I'm not going deaf. You're a quiet talker. That said, so be aware of your projection. Are you taking up the room with your big voice
and your big personality? Right.
Or you quiet talker, and you know, dial in to the appropriate volume. Yeah. Right.
And if you are I'm sorry, but if you were a big talker, I would be like, be mindful of other people in the room. You know, big talkers are great and they get a lot of attention and they feed off that, but you got to be aware of others in the room. Are people going to walk out of the room and be like, well, that was fun for them? Or was it an exchange? Was it, did you feel like you were engaged as the listener and listened to as well?
So that's exactly it. Presentation skills. If you're too big energetically or too small, it's taking away from your presentation. Yeah. When we
find a happy medium, is that the message here?
Videotaping yourself, recording yourself would be just phenomenal in learning, you know, or have someone else tell you if you can take it. And so when you're networking or you're giving a presentation, make the story personal. So pretend you're talking to a friend. I don't mean make the story personal. Well, I was born in blah, 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 blah. No.
When I was 3. Wait, come back. I'm still talking.
To engage your audience, pretend you're talking to a friend if they're not a friend. Interchange the words, topics, whatever you have in mind. For your discussion, stop talking about you, you know, engage that person. And that's part of presentation skills, right? We'll run through those at the end. But what I also want to address is if you are using a script, because we haven't talked about that. So if you are
a little bit,
that was for networking or social situations. But if you are using a script, you don't want to read it. You don't want to read it like
No.
all the time. You don't want to be like this. That is not a good presentation style.
That's somebody holding on for dear life, you know, and everyone in the room can feel it if that person is not looking up at all.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
So some tips for, you know, how to be natural. How to be natural when you have a script.
Breathe.
And as a voice actor, we have to have our scripts. But in order to take it to another level, you have to know it, know the material, understand it, and practice it.
Mm-hmm.
So don't expect to just go in and a lot of us are very good at cold reading. But what I'm learning more and more every day is I can cold read pretty well, but in order to understand it, I give a much better delivery.
Yes.
And that would be true of any presentation, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So I guess I want to leave them with definitely look up Toast Masters. Unless you want to eat some toast, then call me up and we'll make some toast. And practice, practice, practice.
Yeah. And you can also look for a coach. So they call themselves presentation skills coach. There might be other titles, but athletes use them. You know, athletes do have to do speeches at dinners and different things. And there are serious presentation skills coaches out there. You pay a lot of money for, but you don't have to. A lot of us voice talent also provide presentation skills coaching. If any of you have any ideas for comments, if you want to comment about ideas that you have for the common person who does not do voiceover or needs help with public speaking, tips below, please. And fuck it, let's be awesome now because we've got shit to do.
Thanks, guys. Bye.